seems to be a bit of a trend at the moment of combining jigsaw puzzles with escape room style board games. For all I know, it's been going on for a while, but it was the Kickstarter Mother of Frankenstein which first caught my attention. That looks mouth-wateringly awesome, but sadly it was a smidgen above my pay grade, so I'm not going to torture myself by discussing that any further. In this video, we'll take a spoiler-free look at the excellent but considerably more affordable Secret of the Scientist from Identity Games. The box contains a rulebook, a single punch board, and beneath those, most of the box is taken up by these 6 compartments, each with a symbol on top. At the start of the game, you'll be told which compartment to open, and you begin by reading the story on the inside of the flap. Then you pull out the jigsaw pieces, and possibly other components, and assemble them, which gives you a view of the game world. Then you'll need to solve a riddle in the style of escape room games based on what you see. When you think you have the solution, you'll enter it in the puzzle decoder, and if you're correct, you'll advance to the next stage by opening the next compartment. When I ordered the game, I didn't really know what to expect. My main reservation was that it might be a bit simplistic. I've only ever dabbled in jigsaw puzzles myself, but most of the jigsaw fans I've met seem to prefer 1,000-piece puzzles or more, and I wasn't sure whether Secret of the Scientist might turn out to be disappointing in comparison. I didn't want to feel like a 7-year-old attempting to assemble My Little Octopus out of giant saliva-resistant pieces. As it turned out, I needn't have worried. Pretty much everything about this game is excellent. It's true that the jigsaw puzzles have a modest number of pieces, but in total they took a surprisingly long time to assemble. The back of the box doesn't dwell on the number of pieces, and nor shall I. Personally, I found them substantial enough to provide those satisfying little jigsaw moments, such as finally connecting an island of pieces to the main puzzle, or the pleasure of hunting down that one piece which has left a gap. You'll also get a nice sense of discovery and exploration as you gradually assemble the images you'll need to progress the game. There's a lot more I could say about the jigsaw puzzles, but I'm going to leave it at that because I think it's fun to play the game without knowing what's in store. So the jigsaw puzzle aspect works well, but what about the escape room puzzles? Well, I was very pleasantly surprised by the fact that they were pretty challenging. Before I began playing, I had anticipated that they might be too simple and straightforward. After all, the jigsaw puzzles are fairly modest in size and scope. But once again, I needn't have worried. The escape room puzzles were not trivial. The rulebook tells you to give each player a pen and paper at the start of the game, and they're not kidding. Most of the riddles took me a bit of time to even figure out what I was supposed to be doing, and even more time to work through to the solution. There's no difficulty level indicated on the box, but I consider them to be about intermediate difficulty level. The back of the box does recommend players aged 16 and up, and they're not kidding about that either, as there is a little bit of general knowledge required. In retrospect, I realised that it would have been a mistake if the designers had made the escape room puzzles too quick or easy to solve, since that would have left the jigsaw puzzles to carry the game on their own. Fortunately, they struck a really good balance. The escape room puzzles are pretty meaty, and you get to unlock other gameplay components in addition to the jigsaws. In terms of quality, I would rate these puzzles right up there with my favourite games, such as the Exit series. Let's take a closer look at the puzzle decoder, which is used to check your solution when you think you've figured out a puzzle. It's a nice little example of the design ingenuity which you'll find throughout the entire game. By the way, none of this is spoilery because the rulebook teaches you to use the puzzle decoder before you start the game. To put this in context, every escape room game is faced with the problem of allowing players to check their solutions, and there are a lot of different approaches. The Jigsaw series uses the most basic mechanism, namely solve the puzzle on the front of the card, then flip the card and look at the answer on the back. And if you're wrong, you don't get to try again because you just revealed the answer. A step up from this is games which use a deck of cards, each with a 3 or 4-digit number on the back. You solve a puzzle to yield a number, then look to see if a card with that number exists. One of the problems with this system is that it can be surprisingly easy to spot the card with the correct solution on the back, especially if it's right beside the number you guessed, or if you search the deck repeatedly. In contrast, games from the Unlock series and the Escape Tales series use an app to check your solutions. This has plenty of advantages, though not everyone enjoys their board games with a side order or smartphone. But my favourite mechanism is from the Exit the Game series, which uses a decoder disc and a deck of numbered answer cards. You can check out my Exit the Game video for the details, but much like an app, it allows you to make an incorrect guess without revealing anything about the correct solution. and all without harshing your unplugged mallow. Returning to Secret of the Scientist, we have the puzzle decoder, which is the first mechanism I've seen to even approach the excellence of the decoder disc from Exit the Game. Let's see it in action. We'll pretend I've spent the last 15 minutes deciphering clues and scribbling in my notebook like a madman, and I've finally worked out that the solution to the current puzzle is this 4-digit number. To check this solution, I'll use the puzzle decoder and the key pieces, which are numbered 1 through 6. By the way, there are 2 copies of each key piece in case the solution uses duplicate digits. So I'll find the key pieces labelled 5, 2, 4 and 5. I'll place the first digit on top of the letter A on the puzzle decoder. The second digit goes on the letter B and so on. Next, I'll rotate the key pieces based on these arrows near the centre. The positive numbers in green tell me how many quarter turns to make in a clockwise direction, and the negative numbers tell me to turn anti-clockwise. Obviously the positive and negative cancel out, so in this example we'll end up with a total of 2 clockwise quarter turns. Finally, we'll use the information around the edge of the circle to envisage a symbol. The top left quadrant always reveals the shape of the symbol, in this case a diamond. The next quadrant reveals the colour of this shape, so the diamond is blue. Next is a figure, which is a sort of decorative line. That goes in the centre of our symbol like this. And finally, the decoder tells us the colour of that line, in this case green. Now that we've built the symbol, we just need to compare it to the symbols on the 6 compartment lids in the game box. In this case, none of the symbols there match what we're looking for, so our solution must be wrong and it's back to the drawing board. If one of the compartments had matched our symbol, then we'd open it to check the inside of the flap. All compartments are numbered and you progress through them in numerical order, a bit like chapters in a book. So if the revealed number is 1 more than your current chapter, then your solution was correct and you get to plunder the new compartment. But if it's any other number, then you got here by accident, so just close the lid, nod wisely and pretend that you know what the hell you're doing. So that's the puzzle decoder in a nutshell. I think the whole mechanism is ingenious because if you enter an incorrect solution, you won't be given any clue as to the actual solution. Even if your attempt was off by only 1, it will yield a symbol which bears no resemblance to the correct one, which is kind of clever. It's also reasonably robust. If you make an incorrect guess, there's roughly 1 chance in 256 that it will happen to produce the correct symbol by accident. Not the kind of security you'd use to protect your bank account, but not too shabby for a few bits of recycled cardboard. And bonus points for the decoder being thematic. Okay, I'll wrap this up with a few closing thoughts. In case you drifted off for a bit, this game is excellent and you should probably buy it. Here's a pro tip: do not even glance at the back cover of the rulebook, as it is covered in hints and spoilers. You have the choice of playing the game either at your own leisurely pace or racing against the clock and scoring the result, based on this table of quite ambitious targets in the rulebook. Like any escape room game, you only want to play it once because afterwards you'll know all the solutions. But you can definitely reset the game after you finish and pass it on to someone else. One of the components has this little printer icon on it, which means that you can write on it if you want, then download and print out a replacement after you finish the game. Personally, I didn't see much need to write on it in the first place. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy the Puzzle Adventure series from Identity Games.